welcome to the Rundown Podcast. My name is Abe Hicks, joined by my main man, Dylan Kearns. We are heading into our third week of the MLB season. So much is going on. So much is happening. We're going to dive right into it. But first off, Dylan, how you doing? How you feeling, man?
Fantastic. Life's good, man. This is another beautiful day. I love that intro. It gets the juices flowing immediately. But ready to talk some baseball, a lot going on. And we got a lot laid out for you today, so we don't want to waste any time.
Yeah. Like he said, we got a lot for you. Some teams balling out that we didn't expect to coming off the season. Some teams that we expected to be really good, really struggling starting off the year. And some players that we are somewhat concerned about. We're going to dive all into that today in today's episode. But first off, before we get into it, I would like to announce a new sponsor with our podcast here at The Rundown. Spiders Baseball Equipment. Yes, for all my baseball players out there, youth, softball players, we got baseball equipment here for you, sponsored by Spiders. Go check them out. Their equipment's great. We got our batting gloves on the way, and we can't wait to show them out. But yes, go get yourself some batting gloves in any equipment, elbow guards, leg guards, you name it, at spiders.com. And when you get in that equipment, you can use our code rundown15. Rundown15 to get 15% off. So go check them out, use our code, and get yourself some amazing baseball equipment.
Yeah, that's some good stuff right there, man. I was searching their website earlier. I'm like, there's a lot of cool gloves on that site, and I'm excited to see mine getting in the mail, and lots to look forward to in that too.
Yes, sir. All right, well, let's get right into this. We're gonna start off with Aaron Boone. Did you see what happened to Aaron Boone yesterday? Yankees playing the A's, not even one inning into the game, Aaron Boone gets ejected for saying nothing. Yes. He got ejected for saying nothing. Dylan, what did you make of that ejection?
Fans have too much control nowadays. Like this guy behind the dugout, he's yapping his mouth. He's sitting there realizing, hey, here we go. Starts screaming at the umpire. Well, he's sitting right above Aaron Boone, so it's kind of hard. And maybe he sounds like him. Who knows? But that can't happen. If it's in terms of the umpire, they got too much control in terms of just throwing someone out. So I think that's a little messed up, and I think fans are having too much say in how the games are going. It started with Bartman back in the day, and I mean, you saw another Bartman incident earlier this week as well. So lots going on with fans controlling outcomes of ball games.
Yeah, so the whole Aaron Boone thing in that umpire, the umpire was definitely out of line there because after the game, he tried gaslighting the situation, saying that, oh, I heard it come from the dugout. But if you watch the video, and shout out to John Boy Media for being on point with these videos, as soon as the fan said something, the umpire turned around and ejected Aaron Boone. So obviously, Aaron Boone didn't say anything. The umpire thought wrong and thought it was coming from Aaron Boone, while we have video evidence, the year's 2024, saying that it did not come from Aaron Boone. So the bad thing about this is that the umpires have been getting a bad rap so far this early on in the season, and for reasonable reasons too. Like things that, I mean, we see Angel Hernandez in the headlines once a week, and now this happening, Aaron Boone ejected for essentially saying nothing. There has to be some sort of repercussions for these umpires not doing their job well. And that's a problem. Obviously, they're protected by their union, and so MLB can't really do anything. But I just wish we could see throughout all sports, including baseball, them being some sort of repercussions, some consequences for bad performance umpiring.
I like it.
Yeah. So, and then, like you said, even in Colorado, another fan getting involved in on the action. What was it? It could have been a walk-off home run for the Rockies.
Yeah, Jacob Stallings, a catcher, hits one to dead center, walk-off home run. The fan goes and tries to make a play. He reaches over into play, and he doesn't even catch the ball. If you're going to make a play like that, you got to catch the ball. So he drops the ball. The umpires review it, and they call him out. The dude books it for the exits. He didn't even he had to leave immediately. He wasn't kicked out, but he understood that if that happened. Now, eventually the Rockies ended up walking it off, but still something to be mindful of there, not to interfere with the game if you're going to do that. Plus, let it go a couple more feet and catch the ball. Your team wins. You're a hero. You catch the game-winning ball. Don't try to make a play and end the game, you idiot.
Yeah, hard position to be in because I think any fan's reaction would be like, "Oh my gosh, the ball's coming my way. Let me try and get it." Natural reaction. Yeah, but that's tough call. Tough call. All right, so getting right into the beef of what we got for you guys. As the season started, there have been some teams that have been balling out that we didn't really expect, and there's been some teams that we expected to come off hot, and they've been really cold so far. But I'm going to start off with the team that's had the best record in baseball, the Cleveland Guardians. They are balling out so far this year. They're having a great start to the year. What do you make of the Cleveland Guardians this year so far?
When I see the Cleveland Guardians, Abe, I see a team that is starting to get poised. And this is a team a couple years ago that made a deep postseason run. And when I say deep, they just got past the wild card round and they competed with the Yankees pretty well. One player that really competed against the Yankees was Josh Naylor, and that guy has had a whale of a start to the year. He's hitting over 350, 6 bombs. He's an early AL MVP candidate, whether you want to say it or not. This guy's raking at the plate. He's driving in runs. But I want to take a deeper dive into what's really working for this ball club, and it's their bullpen. I mean, this bullpen has been lights out. Nick Sandlin is yet to give up a run. He hasn't given up a run. You got Tim Herron, the lefty there. And then you got Emmanuel Clase, who looks revived. I mean, last year he did have a lot of saves, but he blew 12 games. So there were 12 save opportunities. He didn't come in and get the save. So Clase looks repoised. He's got a 1 ERA on the year. He's striking everybody out, ending ball games. The back end of that pen looks great. And their team ERA is 6th in baseball. So that's really sticking out to me in terms of their starting rotation hasn't been great. I mean, McKenzie's got an ERA of 5. Logan Allen's an ERA of 5. Carlos Carrasco just throws on a Guardians uniform and he's back to a 3-3. I don't know how it works for him, but he finds a way to get outs and pitch deep into ball games. I love the Cleveland Guardians. Their offense surprisingly has been good with many players under 200. I don't know how that's physically possible, but Naylor's carrying the load. Jose is only 239 to start the year. So it's not like he's doing damage either. That outfield's atrocious outside of Stephen Kwan, who's also looking like a very poised, could be the American League hit leader if he continues the stretch he's on, over 370 at the dish. He's making plays. So I think this Guardians team, the way that they're leading to success, run prevention, the bullpen's amazing. They're getting to that 7th inning and going 2015 Royals style, just slamming the door. So very excited to see how this plays out throughout the course of the year. But right now, they look elite to start the year.
Yeah, so I agree with you there. The emergence of Josh Naylor is amazing. He is the emotional leader in that clubhouse and on the field and plays with such tenacity that uplifts everybody else in that team. Naylor's having a breakout year. He's a big reason why the Guardians have the best record in baseball, batting .325 with 6 home runs. Also want to give Stephen Vogt some credit. Somebody who just recently retired, very intertwined with these younger players around the league. Not so far gone from being out of baseball. He's done a really good job so far. Would love to see if he can keep that up for this Guardians ball club.
Yeah, first-year manager, he's got it. That's a lot. I mean, to come in and take over a ball club and get results, he's really doing it well. Hunter Gaddis pitched. I don't know if I mentioned him. Not Sandlin. Gaddis is the one that's really shoving. Sandlin's still a sub too, so that bullpen's elite.
All right. Well, moving on to a team with the most expectations coming into this season, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are struggling a little bit starting off the year. What's going on with the Dodgers?
Well, you break down the Los Angeles Dodgers, you see one player that really highlights it all, Shohei Ohtani, right? And he's done really well to start the year, I'd say. He's outside of the allegations that took place with his translator. I'd say that the ball club is I'm not ready to push the brakes on him yet, but you got to understand this is a team for many years has been led by Clayton Kershaw and Walker Buehler. Those are the two guys that gave him consistent innings. And last year when Buehler went down, then Julio Urias had his off-the-field issues. That team kind of depleted. And you saw it in the postseason. They didn't really get the starting pitching that they were hoping for. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, we might hit on him in a little bit, but that guy, he's only had one quality start since coming over from Japan and getting that big contract. So there's issues there. I think right now to start the year, their team ERA is bottom half in baseball. The offense is working. You know that offense is going to play anywhere they go. So I think they're middle of the pack right now, strictly because their rotation isn't that great and the bullpen hasn't been better at all. So I think going forward I'm not worried. I think they're going to win the division. They're a very talented team. They'll figure it out. But they need some starting pitchers to get healthy because that's one thing that's holding them back. That and a better bullpen.
Yeah. So the stars in that lineup: Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. They showed out so far this year. But sometimes that lineup disappears, and what I mean by this is that supporting cast needs to step up more. I'm talking about Gavin Lux, Kiki Hernandez, James Outman, Chris Taylor, Miguel Rojas are all batting under the Mendoza line. So they need to step it up if the Dodgers have any shot at competing in October. I love their starting pitching, though. I love the addition of Tyler Glass now. Bobby Miller has been pretty solid if he can, be under control when he's pitching. Some guys in that bullpen need to pick it up as well, like Joe Kelly and Ryan Brazier. They should win the division. No other team is going to run away with it. But what this all comes down to with the Dodgers is, can they do it in the postseason? Do we trust Dave Roberts in the postseason? Do you believe that Mookie Betts will deliver in October? Will Shohei Ohtani stay healthy? That's what it all boils down to with this Dodgers team. The regular season, they should be fine. But once we get to October in playoff baseball, those are going to be the highlight questions for the Dodgers.
It's a good point.
Yeah. All right, moving on to another perennial World Series contender, the Houston Astros. They are 7-16 to start the year. Not really liking what I'm seeing out of the Astros. They're 5 games back. Dylan, that bullpen is not very good. That bullpen is awful. Third worst ERA in baseball, I believe, bullpen ERA wise. They don't know what to do with Josh Hader and Ryan Presley. They need to figure out who's going to be the closer, who's going to be the setup man. They need to define those roles for that bullpen. They both have an ERA over 8. Like that's you don't want that out of your supposedly 2 best relievers. They need to get more production out of Alex Bregman. I'm going to get into him later. And Jose Abreu, man, batting 68.068 with only 4 hits this year. That leaves me a little worried. But part of me that isn't worried is that this Astros team has been here before. You look at the last 5 years, they've struggled coming out of the gate starting the season. They've really struggled. They picked it up. They'll usually add a piece or two at the deadline. I don't think I'm really worried about the Astros because I don't really see anybody running away with that division in the AL West.
I couldn't disagree more. I think the Astros are cooked. I think the Astros are cooked. They are absolutely cooked. Here's why the Astros are cooked. You mentioned there that you said, okay, you're worried about the bullpen. I understand. You're trying to figure out the Hader experiment there. But you really got to dig deep into their starting rotation as well. That has been bad. Hunter Brown's ERA is over 8. I mean, they have nothing outside of him right now. Ronel Blanco's been the only bright spot that pitching staff has seen all year long. Their team ERA is 29th under the White Sox at 5.10. 5.10. That means when they go out and pitch, they average giving up 5 runs a ball game. That's earned runs. I mean, they could give up more runs. So that's terrible in that aspect. But I will give them some grace because you listen to this. Who has taken over the lead when it comes to pitching in the postseason for them over the years? That starting rotation that has Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Luis Garcia. All 3 of them are on the IL. Not to mention Lance McCullers, who God knows if he'll ever pitch again. But I mean, there's so many concerns with the starting rotation that is literally alarming. Now, I'm not concerned about their offense at all. Abreu, he may be done. He's getting older, but I think I'm not really concerned. You still have Yordan Alvarez. You still have ball players there. They're top 10 in home runs. They're top 5 in batting average this year. So I still see a lot of success with the team in the future. But when it comes to their rotation, I seriously think they're done. I think they're done if they do not get Framber back this year, if they don't get a healthy Javier. Like, this team is truly in trouble because that rotation can only go as deep as they can go. And if they have 3 starters on the IL, I don't think they have as much depth this year as they have in years past.
Yep. The pitching is something that they need desperately, and so I could, like I said earlier, I can see them adding something at the deadline if there are arms available. But yeah, they're going to get Justin. Justin Verlander has already came back and has pitched well in his one start. We'll see about the Astros. They need some more guys to step up. They got to figure out that starting rotation. They got to get guys healthy, and they got to figure out that bullpen. But it's weird to
What
see the Astros in this position, though. For real.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it is definitely weird. But I'll say one more note here. You said there's no one that's going to run away with it. I could disagree more. The Seattle Mariners are just going to take that next step. And the Texas
Oh,
Rangers won the World Series last year. Here's Seattle's thing. Their offense still hasn't kicked it around. Julio
I know.
Rodriguez is homerless so far to
No
start the
home
year.
runs. Yeah.
But you look at that rotation. Now that's going to win you ball games down the stretch. When you're in the dog
Mm-hmm.
days of August and stuff, you're going to throw out Bryce Miller as your fourth starter. Are you serious? Emerson Hancock could turn it around. Like, you don't know. And then you got Castillo, Kirby, who's had a bad year, and you
Yeah.
got other pieces there. Like, there's enough with their rotation to where they can make a deep run too.
Yeah, no doubt. So moving from some teams that we are necessarily concerned about, we'll move to some players and ask the question: are you concerned? We're gonna start off with Cody Bellinger here. Cody Bellinger, after having an amazing year last year, kind of starting off a little rocky here. Only batting 222, 4 home runs. What I make of Cody Bellinger this year was last year a one-hit wonder. I don't know. I believe in Bellinger. He has shown that he can be one of the best hitters in the league, like he was last year. Some guys start off really slow, and that's all right. We're 3 weeks into the season. I'm going to give him some more time. I'm not worried about Cody Bellinger. I think with a busy offseason with them in the contract negotiating, I think they might have had an effect on him. I'm not worried about Cody Bellinger there in on the north side of Chicago. I think he's going to get right and do really well and help that Cubs lineup.
Yeah, he's got the home runs. I don't like his on base as much, but he does need to uptick it a little bit with his batting average.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
What
moving to
about Aaron
another big
Judge?
offseason.
Okay, yeah, we'll go
Aaron, oh,
Yamamoto.
you want to go
Let's go.
to Yamamoto?
Yeah, let's go Yamamoto.
All right, Yamamoto. Are you concerned?
I'm not pleased. I'm not pleased with Yamamoto. I mean, he's that's a lot of paycheck. It's a lot of paycheck there, and I know he's got
10
some
years?
wipeout stuff. There are so many times where like he showed that he can dominate people, but he's had
Mhm.
some issues. He hasn't gone past the sixth inning very often. Um, I'm concerned. He's had the one rocky start to start the year, which kind of affected his ERA at 4.5 now. But he needs to go deeper in ball games, which I think he will over time. So I guess the answer is no. I'm not concerned. But right now, it's not pretty for Dodgers fans.
Yeah. I'm not concerned, and I predicted this before the season. A few podcasts ago, we highlighted Yoshinobu Yamamoto and predicted how his season would go. And I predicted that at the beginning of the season, there'd be some growing pains with Yamamoto. There would be some up and downs. Getting used to facing big league hitting on a consistent basis is certainly a transition. I think he'll settle in by July, August, and I think that could work in the Dodgers' favor. Get him going at the right time going into the postseason. That's perfect. Yamamoto has wipeout stuff. You said it. He has a wipeout, shutdown stuff sometimes. That splitter that he has can help him get out of innings when he's facing adversity. I'm good. I'm good on Yamamoto. I think he'll be fine. Uh, give him a few more starts. Let him get through the All-Star break. Then I think we'll see the real what we saw in Japan, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. All right, so moving on here to Aaron Judge, my Yankee. Aaron Judge has been awful this year. Am I concerned? I'm not concerned. It's what I'm more concerned about is let me just get into this. I'm not worried about Aaron Judge. I think it helps that Juan Soto is there to blow off some of that steam. He got booed at Yankee Stadium last week. Um, and he acknowledged it. Hey, I'm not playing well. This is, being in New York. You're here. You can paid a bunch of money, $40 million a year. You're the captain. You're expected to play well. And so he knows that. He understands that. He's not a mental midget. I think he'll be just fine. But here's what I would do there on the Bronx. Speaking to you, Aaron Boone, I would put Judge back in the 2-hole and put Soto behind him. Switch it up. Give the pitcher some different looks here. Switch it up, put Judge in the 2-hole. Juan Soto's been balling, put him in the 3 spot, and give Aaron Judge some protection. How about that?
I like it. I like it. Manager Abe, put your hard hat on. I like it.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. Are you concerned? Nick Castellanos.
I'm going to give 2 takes on guys that I think are cooked. Absolutely done. And this might bite me in the tail. Nick Castellanos is no longer a good baseball player. Nick Castellanos is going to have a Dan Uggla fall off right now.
Dan Uggla fall off? Wow.
I see, yeah, a Dan Uggla fall off for Castellanos. Now, I understand Castellanos is probably a better player than Dan Uggla ever was. But Castellanos is 193 to start the year. I don't think the Philly market has really been for him. I mean, he was a guy that played Detroit. He played in Chicago. He loved Chicago when he was there for a couple months. But the whole Philly thing, I don't think is up his alley. I think he's an emotional player, which kind of works there. But he's getting booed. You talk about players getting booed. 193 average. He struck out 40% of his at-bats so far this year. And there's a lot of whiff. He's never been a good defender. He's in that lineup, but I don't think anyone's scared of him at this point. He's a doubles hitter, and I mean, maybe as the summer gets longer, he can pick it up, but I don't see it. I think Castellanos' best days are behind him. Those days he was with the Reds hitting bombs, those days he was going gap to gap with the Tigers. I truly think Castellanos is done. I don't see a way that he turns it around.
Interesting. Who's this next guy? Who's this other guy?
This other guy's his former teammate. His former teammate's Kyle Hendricks. I think right now, sorry, soloed the wrong one. Here we go. Kyle Hendricks is done. When I say done, I mean DFA'd. Kyle Hendricks will be designated for assignment. He'll be off the ball club. It's just ugly. I have never seen a fall off this bad in my life. Abe, he has 37 hits allowed in 21 innings. 21 innings, 37 hits allowed. Not to mention the 28 earned runs and the 8 home runs. All of those, the hits, home runs, earned runs, all lead all of Major League Baseball. So when you put those 3 together and you mash up a nice 12 ERA through 5 starts to start the year, do you think you'd have a job? I don't think so. His fastball's 88 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure if you stretched me out and gave me enough reps, I can get pretty darn close to that. Now, he's not spotting his little, he's Greg Maddux. He doesn't even sniff Greg Maddux. He mixes the sinker, mixes the cutter, great location. Not this year. It's floating up there. Everyone's smacking him out. He's throwing batting practice to everybody. Kyle Hendricks is completely done. The DH ruined his career going to the National League, and he can't get that free out he got every start with the pitcher that was hitting. So I think he's absolutely done. They need to make a decision on him. I don't think he'll be good in the bullpen. I truly think this is a DFA, Jake Arrieta, thanks for your time, smell you later type of move. Yeah. And that's what they're going to have to do.
No, I hear you. He's had a great run there on the north side of Chicago. At the end of the day, if you're not producing at the big league level, it's on to the next person. So poor Kyle Hendricks, but it is what it is. The Cubs are trying to win games. They're trying to make it to the playoffs. Last one here, player, are you concerned? Alex Bregman. I am kind of concerned about Alex Bregman. He's batting .213 so far this year. No home runs. There's no power coming from that bat this year so far. I think he may be pressing a bit, Dylan, and the reason why, he's in a contract year. He is in a contract year. He's 30 years old. And you know what else, Dylan? He's a Scott Boras client who will be looking for a long-term deal. Look at Blake Snell, Cy Young winner. What do you get? 2-year deal? Player option? Didn't get what he was looking for. Jordan Montgomery, great year, won a World Series. 2-year deal, player option. And they had really good years. Alex Bregman, on the other hand, if he doesn't pose a good year and he's a Scott Boras client, he may be in over his head this offseason. I think that mental gymnastics, I think that is affecting him a little bit so far. I don't know. I don't like what I'm seeing there. Especially if he's think about this, Dylan. We were talking about the Astros earlier. If they keep struggling, could Alex Bregman be traded at the deadline?
I don't know. You said that they're going to figure it out in the lad. You said they're going to add.
Cut out.
You said they're going to figure it out and add. I don't.
That's why I said if they struggle. That's what I'm saying. If they struggle, if you're right, and if they, yeah, I just thought about that. Wow.
He could be traded, but I mean, I think he's an Astro for life. That guy has made a career with those Crawford boxes. He should be kissing those every time he runs a poll. Every time he runs a poll, he should be kissing those Crawford boxes because they've made a career out of him. But
no doubt,
I mean,
no doubt.
I do think I think he'll be a Astro for life. But it does pose the question: if they're like 10 games under at the deadline, there'll be some teams that want him.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. He play a little defense. Yeah, a little worried about Alex Bregman. All right, going into a final topic of the show, Dylan has a sentiment where he believes the bullpens in baseball are awful, are terrible. What's going on with the bad pitching, bad bullpens in baseball? Dylan, can you elaborate on that?
Oh, I've watched the Chicago Cubs this year, and maybe this is where it's stemming from. Just bad so far throughout the course of April. You mentioned the Astros bullpen, how it's bottom of the league. The Cubs are also bottom of the league. The San Francisco Giants have an abysmal bullpen, which if they had one, the Yankees has been it's getting there. But I think pretty bad. I think that there's just issues that teams aren't valuing it as much as they used to. Like it used to be like, all right, yeah, we'll stack up the bullpen. We'll get 2-3 guys, and then you're good. Now it's like, all right, let's put the starters and swing them out there, and let's go long innings for a couple, and let's develop them into this. Some teams really need to look at their scouting process and say, let's develop relievers. Because no one develops relievers. No one's sitting there like, oh, I can't wait till this guy from AAA comes up. He's throwing 99. I can't wait for him to get outs in the 7th inning. No one thinks like that. They're looking at this guy's got nasty stuff. He's going to be back end of the rotation. No. Put him in the bullpen. Let's try it. Why don't we value the bullpen in the minor leagues as much as we do in the majors? Because when that starts to become a thing, that's when you start seeing results. And right now, there are teams that are trying this method that just does not work. You need to value the bullpen with the younger guys. Look at college guys, for example. Do you see college closers that are shutting games down, that are only working an inning that you can say, wow, that's an elite arm. Let's go get him and let's develop him. You're not seeing it at this point. You're seeing these guys that are just starters that, all right, yeah, maybe they'll work in the bullpen. Let's try him out there. Rocked every time they take the mound.
Yeah, you're spot on here. I definitely agree with you. There's definitely a disconnect between what the clubs are expecting what they're trying to get out of their arms, whether that's at the MLB level or the minor league level. The quality of arms are not up to par compared to what they are going up against. Usually at this time of the year, the pitching is ahead of the bats. I feel like that isn't the case this year. You kind of mentioned it, but I'm going to go a layer deeper here. Who are the star-studded relievers in this game today? Chapman's old, Craig Kimbrell's old, Kenley Jansen is old. Who is that recognizable guy that is coming into the ninth that the whole baseball world knows? Can you name one?
I think you can. Emmanuel Clase, mentioned him earlier.
Clase, that's one.
Clase, does Edwin Diaz count? I think so.
Yeah.
Alexis Diaz, Raisel Iglesias. There are some.
There's some.
They're not as
big as names as what Chapman was, what Kimbrell was, what Jansen was.
Maybe we're seeing the end of that. David Bednar's a good arm. He's blown a couple games this year.
Yeah,
but he's
who knows David Bednar? You know,
not anywhere outside of the NL Central.
Right. Everybody used to know. Everybody used to know Trevor Hoffman. Everybody used to know Mariano Rivera.
Well, you just named 2 Hall of Famers.
That's true.
But I get your point.
Here, Dylan.
I get your point, but I do think there's an issue with that. Like, there's setup guys don't get love. Like Pedro Strop had one of the greatest 10-year runs in MLB history.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah,
he didn't have an ERA under 3.3 for 10 years.
Yeah,
and he never closed a game. You need those guys. You need those guys.
You do. All right. Well, Dylan, cue that music. That's all we have for you in today's podcast. We appreciate everybody, all the support. Go to our social media, follow us, check us out, The Rundown Media, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok, and also go to spiders.com. Get yourself some baseball equipment. Use the code rundown15. Rundown15 to get 15% off on your next order. Go check them out. They got a bunch of cool stuff there. Appreciate all the support. We'll be back with you next week for another podcast. See you later.